it was that important for me to figure business out, figure out money. The thing is, I'm 34 years old. One day I'm going to be 54 years old. Then I'm going to be 74 years old. And no one, no matter how much I plead or beg or how much money I have, no one will allow me to go back into time and enjoy my days.
Yeah.
It's so cliche to say your time is the most valuable thing you have, but you're like, that's the one thing nobody can gift to you.
Yeah.
So while you're in your prime years or what, like imagine if you had majority of the day to yourself, right?
Yes.
Or imagine if you actually did want to work, you had an option to what you want to work on. You know,
Yeah.
versus, hey, I just go to this job just because they pay me. And you're like, well, what if your labor was of love?
This episode is brought to you by Microseed. Microseed engraves your entire Bitcoin seed phrase onto fireproof, waterproof steel, or titanium. Small enough to fit in your palm, strong enough to last a lifetime. It's durable, easy to hide, and built for secure storage.
If your seed phrase is still on paper, it's time to upgrade and take self-custody to the next level. Because not your keys, not your coins. Go to microseed.io and use code LUNA, L-U-N-A, for a discount, or check the link in the description below.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Moon with the Lunas podcast. Bitcoin price is currently sitting around 66,300. I'm excited for today's episode. We have a special guest joining us, Chris Johnson from the Wealth Squad. Chris has made some bold moves on his Bitcoin journey, selling his house, his watch collection, even his G-Wagon to increase his Bitcoin position. He personally orange pilled me and sent me down the rabbit hole. We're diving into his story, his conviction in Bitcoin, and why he's willing to bet so heavily on the future. Let's get it. Let's do this.
We're so
Thanks for having
thanks
me.
for being here.
Wanted to, so I know everyone who's listened to this podcast knows who you are, but just in case they don't, do you mind sharing a little bit about yourself and your Bitcoin journey?
Yeah, so I'm Chris Johnson. I'm an entrepreneur from California. So I was serving in the military, and you know, when I left California, I joined the military, and from the military, I just decided, like, when I left California, I got on that bus to go to basic training. I'm like, I never want to be broke ever again. You know, like that was my main, like when I left, my dad gave me this like big ass pair of jeans, and like I had my ID card in it. That was it. Like no cell phone, no nothing. I'm like, I never want to be
Wow.
broke again. So I knew, like, you know, money would be something I'm interested in learning about. And so I got in the military. It was cool. I had a really good experience. And then I just started like learning about money, started learning about building businesses. And this is around the same time that like social media is starting to emerge. And then I just put two and two together, like, oh man, like, you know, at first we're going to use social media to share pictures of our new shoes and our dog in the sunset. But then eventually you put everyone in the same room, they're going to do business together, you know? So I just like want to build businesses and leverage social media, because back in the day, like let's say my dad or my grandpa wanted to build a watch company, they're going to have to pay for TV ads or pay for newspaper ads or something like that. I can just go post for free, you know, like I can just go yap on the internet, build an audience, and then just deliver the product and then store the money into something and kind of build like that. And, you know, one thing led to another. I've been through the stock market. I've been, you know, in real estate, all that stuff. And it led to Bitcoin. And I think this is the final trade.
Wow, dude,
Wow.
that's awesome. Because a lot of people that don't know this about you, like you killed it, Chris. You killed it in the stock market. You killed it in owning your own watch business. You killed it in real estate, right? Some people are just happy to like win in any one of these avenues, and like you killed it in all of them. Like, where did this entrepreneurial spirit come from?
I think it was just like, I always thought the cool people were the people who actually did stuff, not the people who consumed the stuff, but the people who did the stuff, you know,
Okay.
okay, for instance, like Nike, like for example, everybody loves the Nike brand, right? Or everybody likes Michael Jordan, but I'm looking at Phil Knight like, dang, like this guy really built this company, you know, like where
Yeah.
the athletes are going to come and go, but this brand is here much longer, you know? So
Yes.
I looked at entrepreneurship like that. And then plus, I just wanted, like, I've been on this quest for freedom. I want freedom. I want to be in control of everything I wanted to do. So I know, like, hey, I have 4 to 6 years to serve in the military. I'll listen to anything they say. I'll do whatever, because I need them way more than they need me, you know. But when it's time, I wanna walk on my own terms, you know, and I wanna move on my own terms. I wanna wake up on my own terms. I wanna work on my own terms. So I just knew, like, entrepreneurship is the only way to go for me.
So
Dude,
good.
that is so good.
Yeah.
And thanks for your service, Chris.
Yeah.
How long did you serve for?
6 years, bro, 6 years.
Oh man, thank you,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah,
yeah,
thank you
yeah,
so much.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
yeah,
I was gonna
6 years,
say
that was
too, I'm
cool.
like yeah, I'm thinking like that entrepreneur spirit too, like what you were kind of sharing too. You just didn't want to have that feeling of like that empty, like you're like, man, I don't ever want to go back to where I
Y
was before.
Yep,
I
mhm,
really have to move forward and try to figure this out. So I
yep,
feel like some people just, become victim of their circumstances, right? Of
yeah,
like, oh, I was put in this situation, I was, all these things. And it's awesome to see when someone really goes, "No, you don't have to do this anymore." Like, you can
yep.
switch you can totally switch to the way you wanna
At
live,
any
and
given
I just
moment, that's kind of the crazy part is, like, tomorrow you could wake up and be a whole new person, you know, like, so it's like sometimes people get tied to their past, you know,
yeah,
and they're like, I think because I grew up poor and I grew up with a lot of poor people, and I realized that struggle has become a part of their identity. So they
Mhm.
won't solve the problem of struggle because then they wouldn't know who they are, you know? And I'm
yeah.
like, but any given day, you could
Ooh,
just wake up and be like, I'm a new person. Like, actually,
yeah,
struggle isn't a part of my story. Even when I tell my story, like, I don't even talk about that. I want to
yeah,
talk about all the cool stuff, you know?
cool stuff.
Yeah, like, I wanna talk about the cool stuff. I wanna talk about traveling and trying new foods and stuff like that, but it's just like the stories we tell ourselves, because the
Mhm.
past
Mhm.
only exists in my mind, and your past exists in your mind, your past exists in your mind. So you can wake up
Yeah.
and just tell yourself a new story, and then, and then back to the entrepreneurship stuff, I just felt like I wanted to eat what I killed, like, sometimes when I was in the army, I would have a good idea, and the good idea would get shot down just because, like, "Oh, this is the way we do things." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Man, what?" Like, "Well, I found a more efficient way to do it,"
Yeah.
Like, "Who do I need to talk
This
to?"
is a
And then
great idea.
not yeah, like, so one thing that I really felt kind of, frustrated with is, like, I feel like I have a good idea, but there's nothing, like, that these people want to do to, kinda implement the good idea, and I get it. You have rules and regulations and standards and, standard procedures for a reason, right? But, like, when it's time to innovate, like, "Yo, let's go," you know? So
Yeah.
I just wanted to be able to, like, put my ideas into the world, and then, like, the free market will tell me if I'm right or wrong, not some guy, like, not some guy
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, we don't like your idea." Like, "Okay, well, what do they think?" Like, "What does the rest of
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
think?" So, yeah, I just wanna be, I wanna eat what I kill and be in control of, my future.
Man, that is so good, Chris. And well, I'm glad you did all that. So I'm glad you stepped out of your box and you didn't get boxed in. Because you've helped so many people. Everybody that we have on our podcast, Chris, I swear they're like Chris Johnson. I'm here because of Chris Johnson. I'm here because Chris Johnson. I'm
Seriously.
like, it's wild. And I'm here because of you. And I just appreciate you, everything that you put out there, all your content, who you are as a person, as a dad. I
Mhm.
think I just appreciate everything that you do, and just taking that step ever since you came out and just explored took on your adventures. One thing I wanted to talk about was everybody's always talking about, hey, you got to get XYZ Bitcoin. Oh, you got to get one Bitcoin, half of a Bitcoin, point one Bitcoin will be like generation. Like you always preach, get to one Bitcoin. Like, why is one Bitcoin so significant to you?
Well, one, it's like, excuse my language, but it's a proof of you giving a fuck. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because it's not easy to get one whole Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like for most people, that's a year's worth of salary. So if you're gonna
Uh-huh.
go chase down one Bitcoin, you actually care. Like
Yeah.
it's a commitment you have to make to yourself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like if I say, hey, go secure one bottle of water, like you might but I'm like, go climb this mountain and get like 5 cases of water. You're gonna have to go on the journey and go get it, because I know that, like I say, that's probably about the average salary, like, so
Yeah.
you honestly have to try, and before you even get to trying and before you set off on this journey to go climb the mountain, you're gonna have to learn because you're gonna like, "Why is the guy telling me to get 1 Bitcoin? Like, what does
Yeah.
he know? So, okay, let me go
Yeah.
read these books he's talking about," So it's the proof of giving a fuck, to be honest,
Yeah.
1, and then 2, like, when you just map out where you have like a strong belief in how much Bitcoin will grow, that will change your life. Like
Yeah.
the 1 Bitcoin will probably change your life. Now, when it will change your life, who knows?
Mhm.
But it probably will happen. So
Yeah.
I'm like, if you're right about something, you want to be right in a big way. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
imagine you go get point 1 Bitcoin and then Bitcoin goes to $10,000,000, right? And you're like, "Wow, I have $1,000,000 because I have point 0.1 Bitcoin," but you coulda had 10,000,000,
Yeah.
and you can't
Yeah.
but now at this point, you can't go back in time 20 years and go get the rest of it. So,
Right.
Yeah.
like, if you're going to be right directionally right, you need to be right in size as well, and I feel like 1 Bitcoin, 1, shows that you care, and then 2, you're gonna reap the rewards.
For
No, dude.
sure. That's
That
so good, especially for someone who's like newer or trying to get into really trying to figure out Bitcoin, like myself. I don't know if you know the premise of this whole podcast, but yeah, like I was late to the journey. I kind of let Anthony take the reins. I heard a lot about you, Chris. I heard a lot about you
yeah. Yeah.
when we would talk and yeah, so we would just start having conversations, but yeah, it's just really helpful to kind of hear different perspectives. And I feel like Chris, like you've done such a great job of like sharing that information with people in a
Mhm.
very simple way,
Yeah.
so that they feel like they can actually do it,
Yeah,
because
and
like you said, it's hard. It's a whole other system that we weren't exposed to.
yep. At
Yeah.
dinner today, that's what I was talking about. I'm like, in order to admit that or in order to submit to Bitcoin, you're gonna have to admit that everything you were taught was wrong, right?
Yeah.
Whether purposely or, kinda on accident, you were misled,
Yeah.
and it really goes all the way back to, like, the Austrian School of Economics or, like, the Keynesian School of Economics, but they're just 2 different trains of teaching, and the Western world took on one of these, like the Keynesian school of economics, and then you realize like this is how we end up in a debt-based credit system, blah blah blah, right? But what happens is you have to peel back all these layers. You put. And
Yes.
I'm like, man, when I first encountered Bitcoin, I'm like, all right, I'll buy this, it'll go up, I'll get a Lamborghini, everything's gonna be good, right? But then you start off like that, and then you end up like, "Oh, the whole system's scamming us." Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so you start looking for a Lamborghini, you end up trying to start a revolution, you know?
You're like, wait, what just happened here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're like, "Man, it's crazy." So, before we started recording, I was telling you guys, like, like, kinda being out, like, in the village in France. So, when I really started, like, diving deeper in like economics and things like that and Bitcoin, I would go on these long walks, like 3, 4 hour walks, listening to books or listen to podcasts. And then it would just like make me think like out there, your mind is real clear. And it would just make me think like, all this is done purposefully. It's
Yeah.
done purposefully. And then somebody, I don't know who it is, maybe it was Robert Breedlove, but they said like, it's not about them having more, it's about you having less. And I'm like,
Mm.
that's exactly what it is. This is why they tax you to death. This is why they do this. And imagine like going back to the getting 1 Bitcoin. If 1 Bitcoin ends up being $5, $10 million, you have enough wealth, you have enough purchasing power to play defense. You can buy
Yeah.
certain things or you could play offense. You can launch more businesses. You can hire people. More purchasing power will lead you to more freedom. So like, I got very, very, very serious about it, but it just started off with like, oh yeah, I see everybody talking about this thing. This is like back in 2017. Everybody's talking about this thing. Hey, let me buy a few of them.
Yeah.
And, but the deeper I went, I'm like, this is actually crazy.
Yeah, it that's so funny because watching your journey personally from the outside, right? Like you would talk about stocks, you like, oh, waking up early in the morning, and then you would talk about like, oh, watering my palm trees, like watering my
Yeah.
grass, and then just like watching your whole journey, and you're like, oh, you gotta get ETH, and you got, and then one day you're like, yo, just Bitcoin only, and then
Yep.
I was
Hmm.
like, you know what, Chris is wild, like, you know what, I don't know if he's on something, but he's wild,
I know
and
people thought
then
I was crazy.
but then you were always saying like, "Hey, like this is what I'm doing," and then like, "Go, don't trust me, go verify,"
Oh
right? And
yeah.
I'm like, "All
Mhm.
right, you know what? I'm gonna go verify it." So I would go down the rabbit hole, and I'm like, "Oh man, like okay, he's onto something."
Yep.
And then for me, I'm always like, "Why am I even questioning him? This guy's won in every arena. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
I just need to do it."
I have, but look, think about this. That's when you lose the biggest. When you
Yes.
go, Oh, I've been winning, I've been winning, I've been winning, I've been winning. Oh, I'm such a good winner. That's when you lose big, you know? So I
Yeah.
even triple check all of my work, you know? So that's
Yeah.
why I always tell people, like, don't take my word for anything. Go look it up, you know? Because that's what
Yeah.
I'm gonna do. I know there's Bitcoiners I listen to that have way more Bitcoin than me, and I get to listen to their podcast. And I'm like, let me go look that up. You know, like let me make sure like I'm still double and triple checking, you know, like so but the going Bitcoin only thing, it's because I was into the crypto space, and
Mhm.
then the Bitcoiners would explain to me like, "Hey, they just created a coin that cost them $0 to make." Now, let's say you make, to keep math simple, you make $25 an hour. You work for
Mhm.
4 hours. Now you have $100. You just swap 4 hours of your life for this coin that this guy made for free. How
Yeah.
is that
Mhm.
fair? You
Yeah.
know? So then if he gets enough people to buy it, he got rich selling you the promise that you're gonna get rich, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So you're waiting for this coin to go up. In reality, he created it for free and then took everyone's money, and then the coin dumps because he made
Yeah.
enough money, he doesn't need to keep up with the project, and then move on to the next project. So as I'm out there taking these walks and stuff, and I'm like, "What am I gonna do about the rest of my portfolio?" And I'm like, "I gotta sell it." Like, to me,
Yeah.
if something is, like, in my heart, I can't, like, half-ass it. And I can't like BS people, especially like people in the wealth squad. I'm like, imagine leading all these people like to these stocks and these coins and all this stuff, you know? And I'm like, but if I have more information, I have more knowledge, I'm gonna have to make my move. And I'm like, I know some people are gonna hate me, some people are gonna think I'm crazy. And I used to tell people in the wealth squad all the time, like, hey, I know you guys think I'm crazy, but I'm selling this and I'm buying Bitcoin right now. It's $15,000. Like, hey, go do the research, bro. I'm not crazy. But it's
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
conviction based on, you know, your knowledge, and like, I like to say, like, put your money where your intellect is, you know?
mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So good.
Dude, that's so good. And real quick too, Chris, so it was like probably back in like 2022, 2021. You tweeted out, it was in the fall, right? It was a Monday night, and you were like, "Hey, I'm gonna go listen to Hidden Secrets of Money by Mike Maloney for the 100th time, but you're probably gonna be too busy watching Monday Night Football." And then I am gonna watch Monday Night Football, Chris. But I feel like I should be watching Hidden Secrets of Money by Mike Maloney. And I was like, man, it just struck a chord with me. So I turned the TV off, I watched it, and then like, dude, that's when I, finished all the episodes, and I still watch it to this day, like rewatch it. And like it gets me, it's so funny. Every time I read a book on Bitcoin, or every time I watch Hidden Secrets of Money and I get so mad, I just make a big Bitcoin purchase. So I'm like,
Yeah,
oh my God.
that's
Every
exactly
time.
how it goes, man. It's gotta piss you off. It's gotta piss you off.
Dude,
So
oh
yeah,
my God.
that hidden secrets of money, and it's crazy because if if you think about football season, maybe like it starts what, like September. We'll go a month further to October, where football season started and basketball season starts, and you're like,
Yeah.
there's a distraction for you every single night. You
Mhm.
got
Uh-huh.
Monday night football, Tuesday basketball games, Wednesday basketball, Thursday night football, Friday night basketball, Saturday night or Saturday college
Crazy.
football, Sunday, and you're like, bro, they have unlimited distractions for you, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
But in all honesty, they're not distracting you. You're distracting yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Mhm. Yep.
if there's some crazy guy on the side of the road, like waving, I don't know, like a purple flag, and you look at him and crash, like he didn't do it, you did it, you know? So that's how I started looking. I'm like, oh, like, no, this is us distracting ourselves, you know? So this is
Yeah.
why now I say, like, yo, it's you versus your attention span.
Yeah. You have
Like
to
we
be
have
super
Yep,
intentional with your time. And
yep,
like you living, having more free time, it's really important. It's great to see because, people us like us, still having jobs and such, but it's eye-opening and it's really great to hear that perspective on the other side, right? Like I feel like it's so eye-opening and it really changes your mindset because like not everyone thinks like that. I think for me before hearing about Bitcoin or even before just really understanding like like just businesses and entrepreneurship, you can get distracted so easy. I was always really distracted. I was probably on my phone way too much. And now I'm like, I don't even people tell me something, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I have
yep.
no idea what you're saying. Like
Yeah.
It's better to
I,
be lost in the sauce. Like, yeah, I have no idea. Like, hey, Chris, what do you think about this? Like, yeah, I really don't
I don't
know,
know.
man.
I
I don't
always say
know.
that.
Yeah, like I don't know what's going on. You know, like I had an experience in Iraq. I've tweeted this story, but I don't think I ever told this story in a podcast, but I had this experience in Iraq. So I first get to Iraq. I'm 18 years old, right? I'm 18 years old in the middle of a war zone. I just left sunny California. 8 months later, I'm in Iraq, And
Right.
me and one of my coworkers, we were arguing about who the best player in the NBA was, right? So we're going back and forth, and this is the year that Kevin Durant won the MVP, and we're like, "Oh no, well this guy did this and he averaged this." So then I had one of my supervisors, he calls me into his office, his little tent hut office, whatever, and he calls me in and he goes, "Yo, Private Johnson, come here." And I'm like, "Oh, what's up?" His name was Sergeant Gilberto Ortiz. Like, I'll never forget this dude, right? He says, "Hey, he said, "Hey, Private Johnson, who's the best player in the NBA?" I said, "Kevin Durant, Sergeant." He said, "How many points did he average?" And I said, like, whatever the number was. And he said, "What
Mhm.
about last year?" I said, "Oh, he averaged this amount last year." And then he said, "Well, who was the MVP last year?" And I said, "Oh, it was this guy." And then he said, "Well, who was second in points?" Right? Like, he just kept going. He just kept drilling me. I'm like, "Oh man, this dude likes basketball. Like, this is what I want to hear." Right? And he goes, "Okay, so what's the maximum effective range on your rifle?" Right? And I was like, "Well, I don't know, Sergeant, but I could look it up and, I can get back to you." So he said, "So you're sitting in the middle of a war zone and you don't know how far the enemy has to be for you to effectively fire at him, but you can tell me useless shit about the NBA." And at that point, I'm like, "Yo, you're right." Like, I'm in the middle of a war zone and I can't tell you how close I need to be to the enemy to fire at them, like, but I know all this stupid ass information.
Yeah.
And that, bro, that changed that one little combo that I had with Sergeant Ortiz
Uh,
changed my life. He's like, "Bro, you are so smart. You just smart about the dumbest stuff
Dumbest.
ever."
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
And I was
God.
like, "Oh, okay, you got me. Like, thank you."
Yeah.
And that was like one of the main conversations that like made me open up my mind. Cause one, he was telling me like, "Yo, you have a lot of potential. Like you have a lot of potential. You're just channeling it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like." So I know a lot of people like that. I know a lot of people who can tell me, "Oh,
Yeah.
this guy is gonna beat this guy in this UFC fight, and this guy's a better boxer in this basketball team." And I'm like, "Okay, bro, but what are you doing for your life?"
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Why
we're
are we
sitting.
caring so much about these people that don't give a crap about you? You
Yep,
know?
exact. And they're like super fit, super wealthy, like living their best life, and then we're just like sitting on the couch, like this guy sucks, like bro, like no, man, we gotta learn things that will actually help us.
Yeah.
Totally.
No, that's so good. And then that is so good. Hey, shout out to us Ortiz.
Yes,
Ortiz.
bro, game changer, saved my life, man.
Yeah.
That is so good.
So hey Chris, with Bitcoin right now. So we had this Bitcoin blessed us today. Best case scenario happened. It dipped.
They dipped,
Uh
yep,
and so worst case scenario, it takes off and we can't
mhm,
catch it.
yep.
We can't catch the boat. So has anything surprised you in the last year with Bitcoin on price action, on just with all these dumb, I don't know. I think they're kind of pointless, these Clarity Act bills and all this stuff and the presidents and the wars. What has anything surprised you on Bitcoin in the last year?
The only thing that really surprises me is how much people think we need like
Yes.
outside systems. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You're like, bro, people are going to eventually choose Bitcoin because they're tired of being robbed. So
Yes.
Yes.
whether this politician is promising this or this news story is happening, like, so it might happen a little bit faster or a little bit slower depending on all this stuff. But like, you guys don't realize like we're going where we're going because people are being robbed by the system
Yes.
that cannot stop printing money.
Yes.
Like why? So it's like the day-to-day stuff and people who I would think are like hardcore Bitcoiners are like getting caught up in this stuff and getting
Yeah.
caught up in like a lot of political stuff and racial things too. The algorithm changes a little bit on Twitter and then now everybody's racist and now everybody's talking about this and now everybody's talking about that. I'm like, bro, like you show up to work with your lunch pail, you educate the people about Bitcoin, you stack your sats and you go about your day. Like let everybody else argue about anything else,
Yes.
so when these people, these Republicans aren't for the Clarity Act or these Democrats, and you're like, bro, who cares? Like
Exactly.
decentralized and secure, bro. Like we're
Yeah,
good. I'm gonna keep stacking. So the one of the main things that surprised me is how much people think we need, all these other
yeah,
entities or even people like, oh, this one random finance guy said this. Like, bro, who cares? Like, he's just not
yeah,
as smart as he thinks he is. So
yeah.
that's a big thing that kind of like surprised me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And then especially too, they're like, just because we're on the topic with it, like a chairman, right? There's like this new chairman. Oh, he's a Bitcoin chairman. I'm like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, who
every 10
cares?
minutes, there's a new
Yeah.
block,
Yep.
right? There's still a
Hmm.
limited supply, 21
Yep.
million,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
what are we doing? Do you have more
Mhm.
Bitcoin than you had yesterday?
Yeah,
Like,
Yep.
what are
that's
we
it.
talking about?
That's it. And it's crazy because once you really like embrace these ethos, then life becomes way more simple. You're
Yeah.
Yes.
like, life just becomes way more simple. Like, hey, I got paid for my job. I bought some Bitcoin. Like, hey, but what do you think about this? And what do you think about this guy? People DM me like news stories all the time. Like, what do you think about this? Like, bro,
I'm
I'm
not
not even
thinking
gonna
about it.
open the DM 99% of the time. And two, who cares? Like, I got more Bitcoin I had yesterday. Like this thing
That's
ain't running
so
away without me. So
Right.
That's so
yeah.
funny. And speaking about DMs too, you're like, hey, shoot me a message, and I can't get anywhere near you. I was trying to hit you up, and I'm like, because I'm not friends with you. I got a small account, you're a big account. I actually went all the way to OJ,
Yeah, that's how
and
I seen it.
I was
OJ
like,
texted to me. That's why I DM or that's why I end up DMing you because OJ sent
yeah,
it to me. I'm like,
I
damn, I
went,
didn't
I
even
went
think
to,
about
I
this.
went to a,
I was like, Aunt, we're plebs, dude.
I'm like,
We're just little plebs
I
over
was
here.
like, man, I'm like, I went to no, but I was like, before I went to OJ though, I was like, I wouldn't do my work. I went to like your Instagram. I went to like I went to all your businesses. I could email you, like find an email address or something. I'm gonna have to go through OJ. I'm gonna bug OJ to get to credit, and then OJ's gonna be like, bro, like I don't know who you are. Like don't message me. Like
Now OJ sent the message. He sent the message.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
shout
OJ.
out
sometimes my
OJ.
Yeah.
Instagram is flooded. Like, imagine if I post a story and like all these people reply, then all the DMs like kind of fall.
Mhm.
But yeah, OJ sent the message.
Let's
He's the
go,
best.
OJ.
That's
Let's go.
awesome.
If you're enjoying this episode, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps us reach more people and continue bringing you great guests. Now, let's get back to the show. Let's go,
Yeah.
man.
Well, curious too, just because you had built wealth before, and then obviously you were like, you just flipped a switch and you're like, I am moving all my wealth across to Bitcoin. So why do you feel like that's become your highest conviction investment?
Like I wouldn't even call it conviction because like you see, like, I don't have, like, conviction in the ground, like, I just stand on the ground and it's there,
Yeah.
like, it's just, like, common kinda you just get used to it, it's kinda common sense, but what it is you start to look at things through the lens of purchasing power,
Mm.
Mhm,
not money, purchasing
mhm,
power, right? So let's say back when I first discovered Bitcoin in 2017, it was like $2,500 a coin. I bought some Bitcoin course. It was like $2,500 a coin. And then like I was making decent money and I could have, been stacking up as much Bitcoin as possible. But I started buying this and this and this and this and this. And as Bitcoin ran away, and I kind of already knew the thesis, we have to keep printing money, all this good stuff. And but I was like distracted. I just like thought, yeah, be diversified and have a million different things or whatever. And then like at some point you start to realize like everything that I bought that wasn't Bitcoin was a distraction.
Mm.
So from 2000 or 2500 to 60,000, that's nearly a 30x,
yeah,
so even if you're putting in $100 a week, that times 30, that's $3,000 a week. So
mhm,
I just started to realize that one, everything most things were going up because of the money printer. They were giving you more money on paper, but it wasn't necessarily more purchasing power.
Right.
So what if your stock portfolio doubles if everything outside doubled as well?
mhm,
Or so what if
yeah,
the value of your house goes up if you can't go buy more houses? So when I
yeah,
start looking at everything through the lens of purchasing power, most things stop making sense, right? And
Mm.
then another thing is not only do they not make sense, but look how much energy and effort you have to put into maintaining them just to
Yeah.
mm,
underperform Bitcoin, right?
yeah,
So I'm like, well, this is a lot of work and this is a lot of, like going back and forth and dealing with tenants and doing this and doing that and watching the market every day. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm a dad. I don't want to wake up, take my kids to school, like go play, like, focus on my business when I have to. And that's it. So I just wanted to simplify everything.
Mhm.
So when I started to make the like understand the difference between assets and money, right? Like the reason why we need assets at the rate that we need them is because the money is broken, or you
Mhm.
can just use better money, and it
Mm.
simplifies everything. It simplifies it so much that you start to think like it can't be that easy, but it
Yeah.
is. You earn your fiat, and you swap it for Bitcoin, and go enjoy your life. It's pretty simple,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it eventually just clicked like, oh, if money is the foundational problem, then we'll just swap for a better money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, that's so good too, Chris. And I think because the concept is so easy, like ABC, like hey, you just swap this and then you just hold it. Wait,
Yep.
but like wait, I don't have to like trade in, or I don't have to wait, or I don't have to like have a spreadsheet and figure out these green candles, red candles. Like it's
Yep.
so easy that I think people just get rocked to sleep.
Yep.
They finesse themselves,
Yeah.
That's
and like
exactly what happens.
and so I just think that Bitcoin is so simple, and it's like it's crazy because it's like literally built for the person that's always been left behind or been
Yep.
like struggling.
Yep.
And all you have to do is a simple thing, and then you can go do your thing, go do your
Yep.
job, go work your 9 to
Mhm.
5, go learn a new skill set, go to school, whatever it may be, and then just still put some away. And you're like, what? Like that's it?
Yeah, that's
That's
it. Like,
it?
oh, and it makes you realize, like, yeah, the financial system is so messed up and so complicated on purpose that you think the
Yes.
easiest, best solution, like, that has got to be something wrong with that. Like,
Yeah.
no, bro, you just need better money. That's all. Like, you just need
Yeah.
better money. That's it. Or like I like to use this analogy. Like, okay, if it wasn't Bitcoin that I was all into, knowing what I know now, it'd probably be gold, right? So if I just
Yep.
have like a chunk of gold and I just put it here like on the counter and then I disappear for 10 years and I come back. Like this chunk of gold is going to be able to buy me about the same things that it
Yep.
did when I walked away. Like so I
Yes.
come back
Mhm.
10 years later, I'm like, oh, this thing used to be able to buy me X, Y, and Z. It can still buy me X, Y, Z. But if I were to
Yeah.
take a stack of cash and put it here and then disappear and come back, I'm like, yeah, now you can get some McDonald's, like
Yeah. Yeah.
now you can get a
Maybe.
$1,300 Happy Meal, bro. You should have bought
Yeah.
assets, like no, man, I don't wanna do all that. I just wanna swap for the thing that's gonna hold its value.
That's such a
I
good
know.
analogy.
That's so good.
That's such a helpful, like, silly, but totally, like, true. And I hate that, like, for me, as I was learning more, I used to always think, like, "This can't be this hard." Even, like, taking time off or, like, stupid stuff like that, you're like, "Why
Mhm,
is this such a hard process?" And I
mhm,
think about people who, like, use this system, right, to, earn money or take money or whatever they're doing with that money. I'm like, "Dang, these people are smart." If they would, like, actually use this for something else, it's kinda like back to, like, what we were if you
yep.
used your mind for something, like, good, it
More
would be,
productive,
like,
yep,
it would
Yeah.
be so great, you know?
yep.
So yeah, there's so much to the system that I have been just like, "Holy cow," like,
You start to
this.
realize how, like, the money being poison, it poisons people's minds, their
Mm,
intentions. Like you said, now people can just go use the system. They don't have to contribute anything, but the system is set up for it to be used. So there's some people out there that's like, well, if they're just gonna give us free money, why do I need to contribute to anything?
yes.
And you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, it's not supposed to work like that. But that's what happens. There's people on the system that make more money or have more purchasing power than people who are actually like contributing, You're like, "Man,
Yeah.
the whole system is broken, and I
Yeah.
don't wanna be a part of it," Like,
Yeah.
"Just give me my money, let me swap it for my Bitcoin, and I'll be on my way, and when you guys think the world is falling apart, I'll be at the park playing basketball."
Yes.
Or riding a bike.
Yeah, right, I'll go ride my bike, and you guys will tell me that the world's falling apart, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna listen to some oldies and go ride my bike."
I'll be at work. I'll be like, and then I'll like open up my X, and I'm like, damn, Chris is just chilling right now next to the water. I'm like, dang, I gotta get free, man. I gotta get
Hey,
free.
Anthony, you wanna know what's crazy? I had that experience too, bro. I had that experience too. There's a dude that's from my area. He's older than me. His name is Omar Bolden. He used to play in the NFL, right? And when he came out of the NFL, I was still in the army.
Uh-huh.
And he's like now he's a fitness influencer, but it would be like Tuesday morning in Germany, like I'm in Germany and I'm driving to work in the snow. I'll click his story. He's in sunny ass California, like working out outside. I'm like, No. I need to figure this out. I need to figure this out because if somebody's able to just get up and go enjoy the palm trees, like, so what
Yes.
you see from me, I've been there before, bro. I've
I'm
been there.
I'm going hey, we're gonna go there, okay?
Yes,
We're gonna go there.
we will be there.
We will
Yeah,
be there.
and someone's gonna tell you guys that, like, "Yo, I used to watch your podcast at work," you're like, but but seriously, it was that important for me to figure business out, figure out money, figure out because I'm like, the thing is, I'm 34 years old. One day I'm gonna be 54 years old, then I'm gonna be 74 years old, right? And no one, no matter how much I plead or beg or how much money I have, no one will allow me to go back into time and enjoy my days. You
Yeah,
know, like, and it's so like cliche to say, like, your time is your only, like, is the most valuable thing you have, but you're like, that's the one thing nobody can gift to you. So
Yeah.
yeah,
while you're in your prime years or what, like, imagine if you had majority of the day to yourself, right?
Yes.
yeah,
Or imagine like if you actually did want to work, you had an option to what you want to work on.
Yes.
yeah,
Versus, hey, I just go to this job just because they pay me. And you're like, well, what if your labor was of love? Like, no,
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
building this drone company because I like drones,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I started thinking about it like that, like, and I'm like, no, I just this is the only way it's going to work for me, like the only way it's going to work because I need majority of my day to myself, and like,
yeah,
and I used to think like this back then when I'm 21, 22 years old, and I'm like, and then I'm gonna have kids, and I want to be around for them, and I don't want to just see them after school, and you know,
yeah,
so I just like I was very, very, very serious about this stuff, like,
yeah,
so and if you guys keep this in the front of your mind, like, "Hey, one day we're either not gonna wanna work or we're only gonna wanna work on things that we actually love," then
mhm,
it's easy to ignore all the distractions because the
totally,
distractions aren't gonna get you where you wanna go, you know?
yeah,
Yes.
So it's easy to keep your cost of living low. It's easy to turn down weekends partying and doing all this. And your other friends who are a couple want to go on a cruise, and you're like, nah, like, we're just gonna send the blitz for the next 5 years, and then you're gonna
yeah,
enjoy, the rest of forever. And as
Yeah.
long as you keep freedom, a priority in your lives, like it will happen for you.
That's
yeah.
so good.
That's all like and again, Bitcoin, like, takes, like, you peel back the layers over and you can see clear now. You're like, everything is like, I walk around like meaningless.
Yeah.
Meaningless.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everything's meaningless,
Yep.
and all I wanna do is just, like, I just want freedom, like, if it's not, like, filtered and through our values and where our goals are, I'm like, I don't want any part of it, nothing.
Yep.
Um, and so, what I wanted to ask you, though, too, since we're on freedom, like, what Bitcoiners always talk about freedom, like, "I wanna get free, I wanna get free." Like, so I know you shared some stuff, like, what's your absolute, like, best favorite part about freedom? 'Cause there's gotta be so many. I feel like there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot, bro. There's a lot. There's a lot. Like, okay, for example, like, let's say, like, my nephew's turning 5 years old, and I just get on a plane and like go surprise him, or go to his birthday party, and then like people are like on the plane, like, oh, so where you headed? Like, Arizona. Like, what are you doing? Like, oh, my nephew's turning 5. But on the other side of that, before I was free, I'm like, I gotta miss it. People turn 5 years old every day. Like you really
Yeah,
get to put an emphasis on what you care about.
yeah,
Like what you truly care about. Like, so
yeah,
in 99% of most people's lives, they're gonna be like, hey, my nephew lives on the other side of the country. I'm not just gonna be able to make it. He's turning 5,
yeah,
I'll be at the next one. But me, I'm
yeah,
like, I get on a plane, here I come. Like my
yeah,
my daughter's birthday's on Friday, and everybody's flying in this weekend, and it's because they've built their freedom too. Like my sister's
yeah,
bringing my nephews, and like my brothers coming, and everybody's coming, and I'm like, this is cool that everyone can fly in the middle of the week. So there's so many aspects to it, bro.
oh,
There's
man.
like so it can go as deep as like you get to spend more time with the people you love, you get to show up for people who show up for you. And then another part is like sometimes in the middle of the day I have a headache and I want to take a nap. You know what I mean? Like it's that, and I'm like, damn, I'm glad I could take a nap. I'm
Yes.
glad I can take a nap right now. Like, so sometimes it's like real deep, and sometimes you're like, let me ride my bike to the ice cream store. Like, or another thing, is like I have the time to learn. right?
Yeah.
And the more you learn, the more information you have, the better decisions you make, the better decisions you make, the more money you make, the more money you make, the more freedom you have, the more freedom you have, the more time you have to learn. And it just keeps
Nice.
going in a cycle, you
Right.
know? So when, like, you guys were talking about, like, conviction earlier, it's like, I have so much time to go learn this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I have so much time to go learn it, to go double check and triple check. You know, whenever you read a book, they reference other books, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then you're like,
Yeah.
"I'm just gonna go read that book too," you know? Like, that's why they say, like, real readers don't need book recommendations, like, yeah,
Yeah.
because 'cause they're gonna reference 3 other books, I'm gonna go read those, I'm gonna read those. So, it gives me, like, enough time to learn enough to slow down. And then I
Yeah.
can make decisions when I see like, like, all right, I'm going to do this, or all right, I'm going to do this, or hey, I should think about should I be taking out loans against my Bitcoin? Let me think about that versus feeling rushed. So
Yeah.
there's so many different layers to freedom,
Mhm.
and every day it just might be something different, man.
Yeah.
Man, that is so dope.
Yeah, and it's just getting out of the system because, like, when you're in the system, you don't have the time to
Yep.
learn something new. Everyone's super tired, everyone's working their butt
Yep.
off for, this money that's not working for them at all. And
Hmm.
then they come home, they have their families, they have their routines, they have, things going on. It's like it's sad, it's
Yep.
really sad. So when people, like you said, when people are like really trying to like, get to that one Bitcoin, like they're really like really trying to really
Yep.
change their lives because
Yeah.
Yep.
that like they're on top of all the things that they're doing even more
Yep.
Mhm.
Hmm.
to learn something new and really like get to where they want to be.
Yeah.
That's like to me really convicting.
Yeah.
It's like very I don't know, like, kinda, like, fires you up a little bit because 'cause you're just like, "Dang, like, these people are really, like,
Locked
us,
in. They're
they're
locked
locked
in.
in." Like,
Yep. Yep.
not
Hmm.
everyone's starting a podcast, not everyone's, being, doing all these things that, a lot of not tooting our own horn over here, but I'm just saying, like, not everyone's doing what,
No, you're right, but you're right, you're right, you're right, and that's why and then when you get to, like, your goal or you get somewhere, you, like, appreciate it more, like,
Yeah.
you appreciate it more and, like, you're like, "Wow, like, we really did that, we really made those sacrifices?" And
Yeah.
I always like to say that, like, to disrespect your money is to disrespect your own life, because you
Mhm.
gave up hours and hours and hours of your life to get somewhere. So imagine giving up those hours and hours of life to buy some stupid ass coin, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is why everything comes back to, like, do what you have to do, make those sacrifices, get to 1 Bitcoin, and, like,
Mhm.
put it away in cold storage and protect it,
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but bro, it's the freedom, the learning, the family, it's like everything is just, like, starts clicking, and you're like, "This is what life is supposed to be like if
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
weren't caught in the rat race."
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that is so good, and then, like, I just, like what's dope, like, to go to, like and you know what's cool? Like, you go visit your nephew who just turned 5, and but not only is, like, your nephew gonna be like, "Oh, man, like, Uncle Chris is here," but, like, his mom and dad,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, "Yo, Chris loves us, man. He just
Yep.
flew out
Mhm.
here for my 5-year-old's birthday."
Yep.
Like, there's we're talking about love. That's
Yep.
Yeah.
love right there, and
Yep.
you're talking to people on the airplane, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to this business meeting," or, "I'm doing this." They're like, got their headphones on, like, "Da da 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 da," and you're just like,
Well,
"Woo."
I see this all the time. Every time I get on a plane, everyone's like this, like laptop, like like looking all busy, and I'm like watching old ass cartoons of Cat Dog and like Pinky and the Brain. And I'm like, I wish I would work right now. Like, bro, pull up these cartoons. I'm watching old Boondocks episodes. Everyone's just sitting there like typing away. I'm like, yeah, good luck, guys.
Yeah. "What are we doing today, Pinky?"
Trying to take over the world. I'm like, bro, this is like, yeah, I don't want no parts of it. But so like maybe a few weeks ago, I tweeted that like, that if you have an alarm clock, I don't want any financial advice, right? And people were
Yeah.
like, there's people richer than you that have alarm clocks, right? And I'm like, well, yeah, that's kind of the point. If you're richer than me and you're still like in this cycle, I still don't want no financial advice from you
Yeah.
because I knew as soon as I bought my freedom, I was gonna spend it with the people I love. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go work 20 hours a day to go be a gazillionaire. So yeah, if you are wealthier than me and you're, a slave to an alarm clock, then Cool. Now I do get some people are very passionate about whatever it is they do. You know, I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about people who just chase endless things and chase endless
Yeah.
work, just because they feel like that fulfills their purpose. And you're like, well,
Mhm.
bro, like he's only turning 5 once, and then this guy has a soccer game, and then, like my niece is running track over here, and the Junior Olympics are in Houston. I'll be there, like it's cool
So
stuff.
cool. Yeah.
Dude,
These are
that's
big life moments that people don't think are big,
Yep.
and it's like they're missing out on like the best parts. Like even if they're not big, like for me, like we have 3 young kids too, and I'm like, dude, I'm so grateful I've had opportunities where I've been able to be present with them, for a lot of
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
And gosh, like I can't imagine like going anywhere else and not seeing like first steps or,
Yep.
these little moments or like stupid moments where they're like being super funny together, and
Yeah.
you're just
Hmm.
like, I get to take a step back and, look at a glimpse of it.
Yep.
Those
Uh,
are like that's like the real deal of life.
Yep, and those are the things that are priceless. Those are the things
Yes.
that are priceless, but imagine some people are never gonna get there because society dangles a carrot in front of them, and sometimes the carrot's a Range Rover, sometimes the carrot is a promotion.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes the carrot is whatever, but you have your sovereignty and you have your Bitcoin and you're stacking, you're like, like, make an extra 50 grand or take my kid to the park. Like, I'm going to the park, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Every
need yeah. Like, oh, you wanna go to the park? We'll go to the park, like, so what ends up happening is you eventually get comfortable enough where you're like, okay, I'm not motivated by money anymore. Like, so
Mhm.
there's like a escape velocity. You need to focus on money long enough to get out of the system. And once you're out
Yeah.
of the system, you're like, yeah, it's not about money. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
gotcha. I told y'all it's about money, but it really wasn't. Like now that I got some freedom, like Disneyland, let's go.
Yep. Yep.
Dude, no, that's funny. So Chris, like what's one lesson about money and investing that took you years to learn but could save someone else a lot of time? Because I know you got a lot of people that follow you, they listen to you, they hear you, you're a great influence on a lot of people, young and older. What would what would you add to this?
I would tell people to slow down. I would tell people to slow down, right? Like, what you want to do is get a whole pool of knowledge before you make decisions or before any action comes.
Okay.
Because what ends up happening is like you hear someone say, hey, you should be doing this, and you should be doing life insurance, and you should be investing in dividend stocks, and you should be doing this. And I would like do, I'm like, all right, I'll master this, and I'll master that, and I'll master that. But if you slow down and learn, and then you realize not only what you are going to say yes to, but then all the things you can say no to, right? Because
Mm,
most things will end up being distractions, right?
yeah.
So all the time, bro, people who are close to me like, "Hey, do you wanna invest in this business? Do you wanna invest in this?" And I'm like, "Hey, like, honestly, it's not gonna outperform Bitcoin." Like, what you got going is not gonna outperform this, so it really doesn't make any sense for me to do this. But a lot of things that you can say no to, right? But you'll learn because you have time to just sit and just learn. So I would
Yeah.
say knowledge, like once you have a very strong base of knowledge, then you make your moves. And I
Mm.
feel like sometimes people want to feel productive, so they just do a bunch of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that would have helped me get to where I wanted to go even faster if I just
Mhm.
slowed down a bit first, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
learn how the system works, learn how these things work. And then you say, okay, all right, now that I know where I'm going to store my money or how I'm going to move my money, now let me go get some.
Mm.
So what
Yeah.
ends up happening is people think before I even care about money, I need to go make money. Like, oh,
Yeah.
why should I care about financial literacy if I only have $300? Because one day you're going to stumble upon $3,000 and you're not going to know what to do with it. It's going to burn a hole in your pocket. So I would tell people to slow down.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
so
no, that's
good.
really good. Do you have
Yeah.
anything to add, Dan?
No, I think that's perfect. You have to start with the basics and I
Yep.
think because I mean, we're just in a system that doesn't allow us to think long enough to make a decision, right? So, because we're just
Monday Night
continuous.
Football.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're always distracted. Speaking of, that made me laugh because I really always feel like there's always a football game on during the week. I'm like, what day is it? I thought it was,
Yeah.
what day is it on? It's
There's
on all the time
always.
now. But yeah, no, it's really helpful to hear that because especially with social media, our phones, all these things, they could be used for really productive things, and they could be used for really, huge distractions. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's super helpful for people to hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think, separates people who succeed financially from those who kind of struggle to build that long-term wealth? That people are probably wanting. I mean, I know we would, that long-term wealth of that freedom, right? Of being able to just not worry.
So what separates people who get it and people who don't?
Yeah.
Um, okay, this is gonna sound weird, but me and my best friend were on the phone today talking about this, right? I never, in my little short 34 years of life, I've never seen someone set out on a path to get financial wealth or to build wealth and fail. I've never seen it, right?
Mm.
I've never seen it. I see some of their little projects fail, and then they just go do another one, and then they
Mhm.
go do another one, then the fourth one hits, right?
Yeah.
So, one of the things that I think separates the people who are gonna get there is staying consistent, right?
Mhm.
Staying consistent is kind of the biggest one, right? So, like, what episode number is this for your podcast?
This is episode, I think, 29. This is
Okay.
29 for us.
Alright, cool. So, in your mind, and both of your minds say, all right, we're on episode 29. Wait till we get to episode 3000. Like
Yeah.
long term, like, hey, we're going to do this until we get to 3000.
Yeah.
So the consistency. Now, when I say that I've never seen nobody fail, it might not be your podcast that gets you guys where you want to go, but maybe
Yeah.
your podcast opens up an idea for you that you have with someone you're
Yeah.
interviewing, and that leads you to the thing. You get what
Mhm.
I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never actually seen nobody like try and fail. Now I've seen people get money and then, kind of like lose it or whatever, which I
Mhm.
think is a different thing because I don't think they were set off to build wealth. I think they just wanted
Mm.
riches. So I've
Yeah.
seen a
Okay.
lot of people go on this path to build riches and lose all the time, because they're
Yeah.
gonna chase every shiny object possible, like
Yeah. Yeah.
they're gonna chase everything. So, um, in the category of riches, the things that are gonna throw you off are the new shiny object syndrome, like feeling like you need to prove yourself by buying things or feeling like material things are gonna make you feel better about yourself. It's a consistent loop of
Yeah.
there's always because no matter how much money you have, there's always something to buy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? There's always something to buy. If I had $1 billion, somebody would try to sell me a $500 million yacht.
Yeah.
Like there's always something to buy for you. Like, what a coincidence. There's endless shopping all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So those type of people who are just chasing riches, they always get thrown off because somebody has something to sell them all the time, right?
Mhm.
If it's not a luxury vacation, then it's a watch, and if it's this, but the people who are on the path to actually build wealth, I have not seen it because you
Yeah.
you got to show up, be valuable at your job. Like
Yeah.
actually do more than what you're paid for, so eventually you get a raise. You take your money, you store it in assets, and then when you get home, you work on the side thing.
Yeah.
One of the two is gonna work, like either you're gonna get promoted so far up the ladder or one of your business is gonna take off. It's going
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
happen, especially if you're like good-hearted people.
Mhm.
Business is all about people. So if you're a
Yeah.
likable person and you're out here like educating people and not being nasty to people, like people are gonna rock with you. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so consistency with good habits, curiosity matters a lot, right?
Yes. I
Curiosity
agree.
matters a lot. Consistency, curiosity, and courage. A lot of
Okay.
people have a lot of good ideas about this, and maybe I should do that, maybe I should do that, and then they don't want to be ridiculed, they don't want to be criticized, they don't want, the first time something happens, one of their shipments from overseas gets lost, they quit, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
so consistency, courage, and curiosity, those are what's gonna separate all the winners from everyone else.
That's
Okay, that's
awesome.
really good. That's really good. And speaking on this like long term talk, so where do you see bringing it back to Bitcoin? Where do you see Bitcoin in the next 5, 10, 15 years?
A
Um,
lot higher.
a lot higher for sure. A lot.
A
I
lot
like that answer.
You can leave it like that, Chris.
a lot higher. A lot higher, so much higher that we're gonna look back at this episode and be like, "Damn, remember when Bitcoin 65,000? Everyone was freaking out." Like,
Yeah.
bro, I'll tell you what. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. This is what's gonna happen. One day, Bitcoin's gonna crash from 800K to 650K, and then people are gonna be like, bro, Bitcoin's down to $650,000. It's all over. And you're gonna be like, I remember when people used to say this about 65K. Like, you guys are
Yeah.
crazy.
Dude,
Like, so I think in the future we're gonna be a lot higher. And I think people who stick to the journey and don't get distracted are gonna be a lot healthier. They're gonna be a lot wealthier. They're gonna have way more children. They're gonna have bigger
mhm.
smiles on their face. Like they're gonna be smarter than ever. And all their friends are gonna be like, I should have listened.
Dude, that was great, Chris. And then just to kind of wrap things up a little bit, so for someone just beginning their Bitcoin journey today, what advice would you give them, and like what mistakes should they avoid?
Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna tell you if you're just starting off on a Bitcoin journey is to clear your mind. Like, don't come in this with any conceived notions about how the prior system
Mm-hmm.
worked, right? So you're not comparing Bitcoin to your favorite tech company. You're not comparing Bitcoin to, well, why would I buy Bitcoin if I'm going to do this? No, like first things first, like clear your mind, come in with an open mind. And then second of all, you need to understand what money is,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like from the time you get your first job until you retire, everyone tells you, hey, go make money, go make money, go make money. But what is money? Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So once you understand that, then you'll start to know, like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should just pick the best money and save myself a lot of time. So you come in with a clear mind because you don't know anything, right? And it's perfectly okay to not know anything, but you have to be willing to absorb new information. And then two, like start with the basics. Like, what is money? What makes a good money and what makes a bad? Why don't we use cows for money, right? Like, you should be able to explain that to me. Like, or
Yeah.
why don't we use bananas for money? Or like, why don't we use glass beads? You're like, well, people got enslaved trying to use glass beads. Like
Mhm.
you really start to learn and understand what is money. So I would say that. And then two, follow people that have a lot of conviction in Bitcoin. Right, because they're the ones who are gonna, like, kinda help you even from a distance get through, like, the hard times or the sell-offs or whatever, like, people are gonna
Mm-hmm.
tell you, like, "Hey, bro, just keep buying," like, that'll help you out a lot. And then another thing too is if you're running out of money, like, you spent all your money buying your Bitcoin, now you're out of money, but you feel like you wanna do more, start learning the technical sides that don't cost you any money to do, right? Like, so for you to I don't download a wallet and play with it. Like,
Yeah.
like it didn't cost you any money. So
Mhm.
use desktop wallets, set those up, like research, try things. So
Mhm.
if you aren't buying, you should be learning. And if you aren't learning, you should be buying. Well, you should always be buying. So yeah, I would start there.
Dude,
So good.
that's great, Chris. And
Yeah.
then also I feel like I don't need to say this, but I'm just gonna still say it for any new listeners on here. But like, where can people connect with you?
On Twitter, I run my mouth a lot on there. Is Chris with four S's and Johnson. Same Instagram name, and then if you search Wealth Squad Chris on YouTube, I'll pop up somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. You're popping up everywhere. So thanks, Chris. Thanks, man. We really appreciate this. You hopping
Absolutely.
on the podcast. I still can't believe we just did a podcast with you right now.
Yeah.
So I'm pumped, man. And thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
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 guys
so
so
let me
much.
know when I'm coming back for part 2, man. We're gonna
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
let's do
we'll
it.
keep this
I'm
thing
totally
going.
down.
Watch our series together just turn into one big "I told you so." We told you
I-
so. We tell you should have bought some, man. So thank you
All
guys
right.
for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Uh,
Chris. And thank you, everyone, for watching To the Moon with the Lunas. And we'll see you on the moon.
Bye.
Peace.
If you're enjoying this episode, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps us reach more people and continue bringing you great guests. Now let's get back to the show.